With a WagerTalk one-day power pass, you receive every play from every betting consultant for one full day at the ridiculously discounted price of just $149. What's better than spending the day watching and following a great slate of games? Watching, following, and winning those games. Get every WagerTalk expert and every game they release for that day.
Hey guys, Carmine Bianco here, WagerTalk.com with the Thursday edition of Stoppage Time. 4 big games this weekend, guys. We are going to cover all 4 of them. A couple Serie A fixtures, the Italian Derby, Juventus and Inter Milan. The Roma Derby, Roma and Lazio. And then we'll cover a big game in Bundesliga that goes on Sunday, Leipzig and Wolfsburg with Champions League implications. And then, of course, the FA Cup final on Saturday with Chelsea and Leicester City. Let's bring in the boys from Sports Memo. It's Pavlos, Laguretos, and from WagerTalk.com, Kevin Dolan and Nick Borrman. Let's bring them in. Kev, I'm going to go to you first, my friend. How you doing? Big weekend of games ahead, and I'm sure you're going to have some plays on those. Any boxing going on?
Yeah, we have a boxing package up right now, which covers the London and California card. So excited about that. We got 2 soccer plays up for tonight as well. One of them in the DFB Pokal. But it has been a rocky few days in soccer. Lost in Chelsea in the under 4.5. Loved that play last night. Got that at minus 110. Chelsea absolutely dominated the game and chances created. Scored a disallowed goal as well. But, simply couldn't get the job done. And that has kind of been the tale of this week. Crystal Palace, we had the night before. They won the XG battle, missed the penalty, somehow lose 3-1. So, we're getting the right sides of these games. It's just been a little frustrating in terms of results. But we have a big 5% NBA play up tonight as well, which we're going to load straight after this show. So, as you said, hoping for a big bounce back ahead of this weekend.
Awesome, man. And I know you will. And we'll get into those Chelsea numbers against Arsenal when we cover that Chelsea and Leicester game. Nick Borrman, how you doing, my friend? Big weekend ahead for you. Any golf tournaments as well to go along with soccer and NHL, where you've done well in NHL as well too.
Yeah, the AT&T Byron Nelson just got kicked off underway. I know Kevin's got it streaming at home right now. So next week is the PGA Championship, so we'll have a big pack up for a major next week. So looking forward to that. And soccer had a great day on Tuesday. Lost my 5%er yesterday though. Atalanta didn't blow out Benevento just like I thought they would. So hoping to rebound here today. Got 2 plays going this afternoon here in Eastern time. And the end of the season coming up for these domestic leagues is going to be a wild next 2-3 weeks for sure.
Yeah, definitely. We have a couple with a couple games left pretty much in every league. There's still some places in the balance as far as Champions League, Europa League, and some relegation battles. So with that said, let's bring in my good friend. I'm not sure whether he's in Greece or Spain or maybe Lithuania today. Pavlos, Laguretos, buddy, how you doing, my friend?
Personally, I'm doing great, but my picks have been, I don't know. I need a witch doctor. I told you guys before the show, I had the 1-1 draw in the Torino versus Milan yesterday. It ended at 7-0. I also had a 5% on Higuain to score because if you read my write-up, there's some interesting info in there. But the game was suspended for like 2 hours in the halftime. So the game should have been suspended overall, but then they made the players go out and play. And of course, no one wants to play after 2 hours of sitting around. So I think we all need someone to destroy a hex or something. But I got a 2-pack up for today. Just $5 for 4 unit plays on soccer, and just 2 NBA plays for again $5. So let's do this.
That's right. It's $5 day over at Sports Memo. Pavlos, it might have something to do with those bottles in the background. Ever since you went to those bottles, you've been talking about witch doctors and stuff. So maybe a nice floral arrangement for next Tuesday's Stoppage Time show. With that said, guys, let's jump right into it. The Italian Derby, Juventus, Inter Milan. Juventus is plus 115 at home. The draw is plus 250. Inter Milan are plus 210, and the total is 2.75, which is a split line of 2.5 and 3. Inter Milan is plus 210. Sorry, I screwed up on that graphic there. It's not 12-10, or else I'd be all over that line, as would the rest of the guys. Plus 210. Listen, it's not the happiest time in Turin, Italy. I can tell you that much as a Juve fan myself. They're welcoming in the title holders. After winning so many titles, Juve are struggling. They're in 5th. They do come off a win the other day, 3-1, but sitting in 5th place on the outside looking in as far as Champions League goes. And Pavlos, I'm going to go to you first on this one, but looking at the schedule, it just does not. I can't figure out a way on how Juve even cracks the top 4 here. You look at the teams directly in front of them. AC Milan and Atalanta, both 3 points ahead. AC Milan play Cagliari at home, who are in a bit of a relegation battle, but a little safer now after a draw. And then they close the season with Atalanta at Atalanta, and Atalanta play Genoa this weekend. So then you have Napoli at Fiorentina and then home to Verona, all winnable games. And the thing is, Juve have the worst record against all 3 teams. So any tiebreaker, they lose out on. So with that said, does Inter Milan, their hated rivals, deal the final death blow this weekend?
Possibly, yes. To be honest, yes, possibly, yes. To be honest, I wasn't sure that Juventus were going to beat Sassuolo in that match. I was almost on the verge of betting Sassuolo in that match, but luckily I didn't. The thing is that Sassuolo, they earned a penalty kick at the start of the match. They missed on it, and then they lost by 3-1. So if they had made that penalty kick, I think that maybe Juventus would have won. Maybe they would have struggled a bit more to overtake Sassuolo, who are a very, very offensive side. Anyway, Juventus, they have been terrible in the defense lately. They haven't kept any clean sheets in the last 13 matches and in their last 7 matches at home. Both teams scored in 10 of their last 13 matches, which goes to show that their offense is still running, but their defense is terrible. Inter Milan, they've lost just one of their last 24 matches in all competitions, and that loss, of course, came against Juve in the Copa del Rey. Inter Milan, they've been bad against Juve lately. They have won just one of their last 10 matches against Juventus. They have 6 losses and 3 draws, and 7 of those 10 matches had under 2.5 goals. Juve, they've been great as hosts against Inter Milan. They're unbeaten in the last 9. They have 6 wins and 3 draws, and 7 of those 9 matches went under 2.5 goals. So I'm looking at the under 2.25 goals at plus 103, I think it is. And I think that's the way to go here. I think we'll see a low-scoring match. Maybe Juve will try to take a small win. Inter, of course, will try to play spoiler, but I think I'm on the over here. On the under, sorry, under 2.75.
Yeah, no, and I see it. Inter does love playing those lower scoring games, and they haven't really lit it up. Other than when they're playing a team like a Sampdoria or one of the bottom half teams. Nick, I'm going to go to you on this one. Listen, I watch this team a lot, and they're just not playing well, and there's a lot of stuff that's going to happen in the summer because I truly do not see Cristiano Ronaldo wanting to stay at Juve, even though I think he still has a year left in his contract that pays him $31 million a year. Not qualifying for Champions League cost this team $90 million. I think they need to implode this team. I think there's going to be a massive overhaul, and Ronaldo wants to play in Champions League, so maybe a move somewhere else where he can pad his stats in his final couple of years playing European football. What do you think?
Yeah, this is a tough one. I mean, on the one hand, you have Inter already qualified, already won the league, and really nothing to play for. While on the other hand, Juve, you already mentioned it, Carm, absolutely need to win just to keep their hopes alive. That being said, in the 2 games since clinching, Inter continue to put out a good lineup. There's no doubt these guys want to play. They have nothing else going on, no other competitions to play for right now. So they want to play the rest of the season out, the 2 games they have left. So I'm expecting a solid lineup here from Inter. And knowing that, I can't see any reason not to grab the plus goals, which you can get a plus a quarter of a goal on Inter, the best team in the league. To me, it's like, how do you not take that? They haven't lost in 17 straight games. That their last loss did come against none other than Juventus in leg one of their Coppa Italia matchup. But since then, I mean, they have wins over Lazio, AC Milan, Atalanta, Roma, draws against Juve and Napoli. They also beat Juve 2-0 in the reverse fixture back in January. So all the pressure in the world is on Juve, and I like fading that in this game. Give me a no-pressure, in-form Inter side here to just continue to roll, as I have little doubt we're going to see both Lukaku and Martinez in the lineup for this match. So knowing that, I would take the plus goals on Inter.
Yeah, Nick, 100% I agree with you. And Kev, I don't see Inter sitting anybody out in this game. They're going to come in there with one of Juve's former managers, Antonio Conte. He's going to want to, he left when he left Turin and he left Juventus. It was a bit of bad blood there. He's going to want to come back sort of strutting his stuff with his team, who are the new title holders, and want to put that final nail in that coffin, I would think. With that said, Juve have found ways to play extremely well against the good teams, but it's playing against the so-so teams that have them where they are right now. Losing back in March 1-0 at home to Benevento, of all teams. A draw there would have helped them. Against AC Milan, last time out of home, 3-0 loss at home. Absolutely embarrassing, where even a draw still puts them in the driver's seat for a Champions League spot. What do you think happens here?
I'm in complete agreement. This will make my card, because basically Nick just said it himself. How can you not take this? You're taking the best team in Italy, getting, a quarter goal. I mean, so it'll definitely make my card. And look, generally, this is always an angle you want to look at. You're always going to get value fading must-win teams in these kind of spots. Always, especially against better teams in the league. We've seen it on Monday, Burnley against Fulham. Fulham need to win. This is a must-win game. Burnley don't have as much to play for. But, what always makes me laugh is these guys are professionals at the end of the day. It's not like they're going to roll out beach towels and sand buckets and sit pitch side with the sunglasses on. They're professionals. They're not going to let the other team just take free shots on goal. So, for me, getting the better team here, plus a quarter goal, half goal, whatever it may be, head start, is usually always the way to go. And again, we talked about this on Tuesday. We're going to see this same scenario play out tonight. Liverpool, against United. Liverpool might end up winning that game. But there's no question in my mind that the value is with the home side in that one as well, simply because, these must-win spots are always overinflated by the books and the public. Juventus, as you said, were flat out embarrassed at home by AC Milan on Sunday. So you would imagine they're going to bring a best effort here on Saturday. But for all the reasons I just outlined above, I'd still be looking towards Inter here. They will make my card. And as you said, I think the main thing for me is, Conte is going to be fired up for this one against his old club. He's going to put out a full strength team. Inter haven't won any of the last 7 head-to-heads against Juve in this venue. So that's another reason to, break that duck. And, we know Pirlo's basically gone. So you'd have to imagine this sets up a perfect storm for Inter to come in here, and win outright. I wouldn't, never mind just the quarter goal. The plus 210 price looks very big. So I'll probably take a combination of money line and handicap here because, I like Inter in this spot.
Yeah, that plus 210 is very inviting, I guess, one way of looking at it. And it's probably something that I'll look to do as well. And, Conte, he's an animated guy during the best and worst of times. And while they won the title, he's going to get excited with any goal that gets scored by Inter at the Allianz Stadium on the weekend. All right, guys, let's head into the second game in Italy. This is the Roma derby, Roma and Lazio. I know Pavlos will have some stuff to talk about Lazio. It's one of his favorite teams, but let's, or maybe not. But the numbers here are Roma plus 187, the draws plus 250, Lazio plus 130 as favorites, slight favorites, and the total is 3. As I said, this is the Roma derby. Nick, I'm going to go to you first on this one. Lazio are locked into 6th place in the standings here, which comes with a Europa League spot. So for them, they're pretty much playing out the season, but they would love nothing better than to put a dent in Roma's European hopes. They're in 7th right now, holding on to one of those other spots, which is the European Conference, the newly created one. And with Sassuolo just a couple points back, if they can beat Roma and Sassuolo does what they're supposed to do on the weekend and win, that now moves Roma out of a European spot. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, all for sure good points on motivational, who's got the motivation for this game. But, I don't trust Roma's defense at all. Let me put that out there first. But I do think there's value on them in this game at 2-1, basically, to win, or taking the handicap of plus a quarter of a goal. I mean, they've been very good at home this season, 12 wins, 4 draws, 2 losses, and a plus 22 goal differential, losing only to Napoli and AC Milan. They also cruised to the Europa League, unbeaten at home, 5 wins, 2 draws, wins against United. Of course, that game, obviously, United did not have to put out their best effort. Shakhtar, Braga, and a draw against Ajax. Lazio, away from home, they've been awful. And they have 6 losses in their last 8 games. Their only 2 wins came against Verona and Udinese. They have a couple bad losses during that run, too, at Fiorentina and at Bologna. And, of course, they have not surprising losses at Inter, Juve, Napoli, and Bayern in the Champions League. So, I don't like Lazio's spot here on the road. I don't trust them on the road. I think there's value on Roma. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Roma doesn't win here because they have been choking as well, but they've just been very good at home. And I think there's value on the price. Head-to-head, Lazio only have 1 win at Roma in the last 8 trips. So I just don't see why they should be a road favorite here. So I like the plus quarter of a goal, and I'll also be sprinkling a little bit on the 2-1 payout for them to win outright on Roma.
Yeah, Kev, it's unique when we talk about like a derby because, whether it's, home or away, these guys are familiar with where they're playing because they're playing at the Olimpico. And Lazio won that reverse fixture 3-0. I tend to think that we're going to see some goals in this game. It's a game where neither team likes each other, and usually you want to lay one on a team when you have the opportunity to do so. Looking at the total here, it's sitting at 3, which is probably where it should be. But if there was a 2 3/4 bet out there, I would jump on the over there. Definitely at 3, this likely could be one of those 2-1 type games. What do you think?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm probably going to set this one out from a betting standpoint because, I am a fan of Roma. I was there a couple of years ago, was drinking with all the Roma fans, and obviously that kind of animosity that they have towards Lazio kind of flared up, and I was having that. And this is just on my bucket list to go to one of these derby games, hopefully when everything opens back up, because Lazio Roma is number 1 for me. They were telling me about their ultras, and I was like, yeah, but ultras are all over Europe. And they were like, no, we have ultras, where like they dress up in Lazio gear to get in that side of the stadium, and then they take it all off, like they're just crazy, so, but yeah, from a betting side point, I just don't really like the side or the total. I'm probably going to steal a bit of Pavlos' thunder here because I was looking at the cards market. We all know this is one of the most fiercely contested derbies in Europe, but even outside of that, both teams have been absolutely racking up an inordinate amount of booking points this season. Lazio lead the league in overall aggression this year. They've amassed 95 yellow cards, 4 reds. While Roma have the 3rd highest aggression tally at home, 47 yellows and 2 reds. So, you would imagine with both teams pretty much detesting each other that this game spills over at some point, and produces some fireworks. So as of right now, though, I was checking the books. I checked both Bet365 and William Hill over here in Europe. There's no card markets up as of yet. So that's a market I'll be keeping an eye on personally in the lead up to Saturday, and hopefully jump on, some yellows, some reds, or, maybe a sending off here.
All right, something to look at. And a guy who knows his yellow cards, let's bring him in for the final word on this game. Pavlos, thoughts on this one?
I think that there'll be 3 times as many cards as they are goals in this match. If you look at the last 4 matches between the 2 sides, the reverse picture was Lazio versus Roma, 3-0, 9 cards. The one before that, 1-1, 7 cards. The one before that, again 1-1, final score, 7 cards. The one before that, 3-0, 9 cards and a red. So that's actually my bet. There's going to be 3 times as many cards as they are goals. If there are 2 goals, maybe 7 or 8 cards. If there are 3 goals, 9 cards. I mean, Anyway, Kevin made some great points. I also looked at FanDuel and DraftKings. No one has released lines on the cards. Maybe they know something. Maybe they won't release it. I expect a line at around 6.5 cards and possibly a red card. So I'm with Kevin on this one. I'm gonna wait for maybe tomorrow they'll release the odds if they will release odds in this match, and I'm gonna jump right on the cards and maybe a red card. As far as the side goes, again, Roma, they've been great against Lazio at home. Plus 220 for a team that is actually looking for a win is way too high. So, given how Lazio they've been poor on the road, so if I had to pick a side, I'd pick Roma. But I'm gonna wait for the line on the cards, and I'm gonna jump on that aggressively.
All right. Well, by my estimation of goals and your mathematics of yellow cards, you're going to need 15 yellow cards because I figure there's going to be about 5 goals in this game. So we'll see if that works. Guys, before we head to the third game, which is the Bundesliga game, I want to talk to you about a show promo. This ends Friday at midnight. If you use coupon code ST40, you can get a 7-day all-access package for any of the 4 guys. 3 of us on this show. You use at WagerTalk ST40, and you can get $40 off a 7-day all access. That's normally $119. You can get that for $79 and get the next 7 days of plays. And all the guys, some of the guys have 5% plays up. I will have one up for the weekend as well. And over at Sports Memo, because the 7-day all access package is slightly lower, you can use Memo 30 and get $30 off that 7-day all access package for Pavlos only. So head over to either site and you can pick up those and get the next 7 days of all sports, all access at WagerTalk and Sports Memo. All right, guys, with that said, let's head into the third game. We're going to switch countries. We're heading over to Germany and a Sunday fixture, Red Bull Leipzig and Wolfsburg. Leipzig at home plus 110. The draw is plus 250. Wolfsburg plus 240, and the total is 2.75, which is a split line of 2.5 and 3. What we know so far, Kev, is Leipzig have clinched a Champions League spot. Them and Bayern Munich are the 2 teams that have clinched CL spots for next season. Not the same for this Wolfsburg side, even though they said third. Dortmund sitting fourth. They don't look like they're about to lose any more games the rest of this year. They've gotten hot at the right time. But sitting just back in fifth is Frankfurt. So I think as far as Wolfsburg goes, this is a game they do not want to lose before heading into the final weekend of the season. Do we look at a draw here? Do we look at a Wolfsburg plus a quarter of a goal? How do we go here? Or is it just a Leipzig victory?
No, I definitely, well, I mean, it could be obviously, but I'm not betting on the Leipzig victory. It is an interesting game, pitching 2 versus 3. Even more than that takes place just 3 days after the DFB Pokal final as well. So, it'll be kind of interesting to see how Leipzig respond. It's just that Leipzig have been incredibly patchy. They had 3 losses over the last 6 in Bundesliga, for example, but their home form, in fairness, has been a lot more consistent. Just 1 loss over the last 8 inside Red Bull Arena. That obviously coming to Bayern. So, they're definitely a much tougher nut to crack at home. Wolfsburg, meanwhile, patchy themselves. 2 wins from the last 5 overall, but those 3 losses came against top 5 teams in the league, Frankfurt, Dortmund, Bayern. So, again, nothing to be particularly ashamed of. But the concern for me in this one is that this is a Wolfsburg team. We've seen this maybe a season or 2 ago with Arsenal. They absolutely feast on minnows. But when they come up against big teams, they don't have such a great record. Wolfsburg have won 10 of 13 against teams ranked 12th or lower in the league this season. They've lost none. But against teams ranked 7th or above, they've won just 1 of 10. So that's a pretty big drop-off there in terms of results, going from elite teams to subpar opposition in the Bundesliga this season. Saying all that, though, I know Lick loves this stat. We've mentioned this numerous times already on this show, and it's simply that when 2 Bundesliga teams with an above 50% win percentage on the season face off against one another, applies obviously to both Wolfsburg and Leipzig here, blindly backing the underdog in these spots has just been insanely profitable, plus 54.26 units. I rechecked the figures this morning. over just 158 times it's happened. That's a 34.34% overall yield. Like no other league comes close to that kind of profit. So I'm not going to complicate things here. I'll just take Wolfsburg on the money line for Sunday plus 240 to get the outright victory in this one.
All right, plus 240. Wow, if we take that and we add the Inter Milan game into it at plus 210 in a nice little parlay, that's going to pay some astronomical odds if we can find one more before we're done. Pavlos, give me your thoughts on this game.
How about Weghorst to score? This guy is the top scorer for Wolfsburg this season. He scored 20 goals in 32 matches. Leipzig, they've been great against Wolfsburg lately. In the last 5 matches between the two, Wolfsburg have scored just 4 goals against Leipzig, and Weghorst has scored 3 of those 4 goals. So I really like this player. He's one of the. I know Kevin doesn't like this type of player. Tall guy, strength. Powerful with the headers and all that. Like what's the guy from Chelsea? Giroud. He's like a Giroud type of player. He's very strong. He always contests. Headers in the area.
He's much better than Giroud. He's much better.
Yeah, he's true. But I do feel that Wolfsburg they'll have a genuine interest to win this match because Frankfurt they play at Schalke, so they will move up the standings most likely. Dortmund they do have a final match against Bayer Leverkusen, who are always dangerous. They have underperformed this season, but it's still a dangerous match. I'm not sure who is eventually going to take the Champions League ticket here, but I'm looking towards Wolfsburg in this match and Weghorst to score anytime.
All right, Nick, I'm going to go to you last on this one. Tiebreakers, should it happen at the end of the season, excuse me, tiebreakers at the end of the season are goal differential first. It's not head-to-head with a team like it is in Italy Serie A. It is goal differential first and then total goals scored. So Wolfsburg are good as far as that goes, which is why they just probably need to avoid defeat here and head into the final weekend of the Bundesliga season with everything in their hands. Your thoughts?
I'll say my cojones are pea size compared to Kevin and taking Wolfsburg on the outright winner. But I do agree. I think grabbing them on the plus quarter of a goal here, just to at least get a draw, makes a lot of sense. I mean, to me, Leipzig, their season is all about today. The DFB Pokal, getting a trophy, getting beating Dortmund, and they're locked into this 2-2 seed no matter what happens the rest of the way. They got their Champions League spot locked up. Bayern obviously already clinched, so they're going to go all out tonight. This game comes just 3 days later. They may still put out a good squad, but how fresh and how ready will those guys be is kind of got me questioning Leipzig here and why I would want to back them. So I like Wolfsburg. I think Leipzig has been very, very good all year. There's no denying that they've been very, very good at home. They have 11 wins, 3 draws, 2 losses. But at the same time, Wolfsburg's been very good away. They only have 4 losses on the road this year, and they have the 3rd most points away from home with a +8 goal differential. The defense is very, very good. And again, all they got to do is set up here defensively. If they can get a point out of this game, it makes a huge difference for them in qualifying for the Champions League. So I don't see them doing a lot here. I see them playing very defensively and trying to, again, 1 goal could get them the win, but I see them really focusing on just keeping Leipzig off the board and trying to, get that point at least by earning a draw. At the same token, and that same kind of mindset, the under here for how this game I think is going to be approached by Wolfsburg is a good way to play this. 10 out of the last 13 matches between these teams has also finished under 2.5 goals. Right now, the total, is at 2 3/4. But I like grabbing under 2.5 at a small plus price. So I like both the under and I like Wolfsburg at a plus quarter of a goal here. But maybe one day I'll get the cojones like Kevin, but they're not quite there yet.
Yeah, Nick, and I get it. Listen, if this total was at 3 flat, I would be probably all over the under. I still might take some at 2.75. Leipzig has one of the best, or if not the best, defenses in the Bundesliga this season. And then you look at Wolfsburg is probably a team who isn't going to be pushing the game as much. They're just looking to avoid defeat. So I don't see this being a wide open game. And usually taking unders in Bundesliga is not really recommended, but this is probably a spot where you can take one, knowing that it's going to be a tighter affair. All right, guys, let's head into the final one. We're heading back across the pond to England. It's Wembley Stadium, the FA Cup final, Chelsea and Leicester City. Chelsea minus 110. The draw is plus 255. Leicester City plus 300. And the total here, it's a typical Chelsea total of 2.25 goals, 2.25, which is a split line of 2 and 2.5. All right, guys. Opposite ends of the spectrum. And when you look at results this week in PL, you had Leicester City that went to Old Trafford, played a less than full strength Man United side who also played today. They played, I think, 3 games in 5 days. So they chose to rest some players against Leicester City, more than a few of their regulars. They did bring them on late, but it wasn't enough. 2-1 Leicester win. And then we have Chelsea, who yesterday, and Kevin talked about it at the top of the show, they drop a 1-0 result at home to Arsenal and held every single metric was in their favor, with the exception of the final score. Possession 68-32, goal attempts 19-5, actual shots on goal 5-2, and they still lose 1-0. I'm sorry to remind anyone who had Chelsea in that one. I'm going to go to Pavlos first on this one. Give me your thoughts on this one.
I mean, you have to look at the under here. 7 of the last 8 matches between the two sides had under 2.5 goals, and both teams scored in just 3 of those 8 matches. So, Chelsea have been pretty predictable, I guess, since Coach Tuchel came over and he took over. They have a great defense. We say this in every show. They are just great defensively. Even though they bought a lot of midfielders and attackers this offseason, their focus is still on the defense, and they're doing a great job. And Leicester, their defense is not so good this season because they had a lot of injuries, and there were a lot of new pieces that came in the transfer window, and they still have some gelling to do. So I don't think this is going to be one of those cup finals that the score is going to go to sky high numbers. Maybe both teams to score goes at minus 118. The under 2.25 goals is also something to look at, but the combination of both teams to score no and under 2.5 goals goes at plus 108. So maybe we'll see a goalless draw and the match goes to extra time or penalty kicks. Maybe we'll see a 1-0 Chelsea win or a 2-0 Chelsea win. So all these are my thoughts about this match. I don't think we'll see a high-scoring match. Chelsea, of course, can shut out Leicester. So, something between under 2.25 goals, both teams to score no, or the combination at plus 108.
Okay, that actually sounds pretty good. You're mentioning a few of them there. There is one, and Nick, I'm going to go to you on this one, and then we're going to give Kevin the final word. While you're talking, I'm going to look for these odds, but it's a Kevin special, I'm going to call it, but it's one that I'd like, which is Chelsea win to 0. Thoughts on this game and that possible bet?
Kevin will not be touching that bet. I can bet on that right now. Listen, Chelsea, yes, you mentioned it. Listen, they were still the better team. They've been playing so good for so long. At some point, no matter how good you're playing, a slip-up's going to happen. And it's not even really a slip-up. They played well. They didn't score when they had their chance. They had that goal called back, and they didn't get the win, or at least the draw here. So it happens. But who's the better team on the field in this game? Chelsea. So to me, it's like they're the side to play. Leicester did win the reverse fixture 2-0 back in January, but who cares, right? That was the last Premier League game that Lampard was the manager for the Blues, and obviously, boy, have they changed since Tuchel took over. I've listed every time we talked about them, I've listed the impressive list of teams they've beaten, which is pretty much everybody, the who's who of Europe. So, to me here, it's Chelsea as a side play. But, another way to look at this is on the totals, which, sometimes in the knockout type of a game like this, you never really know because it's different than a regular league game where teams are settling or okay with grabbing a point near the end of the game and don't have to push for something. Here, the end of the game changes a little bit as, it's all or nothing. You either win or you lose, and there's no going back from that. So the under is the way I look at this, just because these teams play very low scoring. Chelsea obviously has been doing nothing but playing defense. Carm, you mentioned the 2-0 prop is obviously a good play in my mind for the same reason that this under is. Right now you can get 2.5. You can buy it up. I see it about -130. You can obviously stick with the 2.25 as well. You just don't get that full win if it lands on 2. But I think it's going to be a low, slow, grinded out win by Chelsea. It may take extra time to do so. So I'm more leaning towards the under than I am on Chelsea. But if I'm playing the side, I'm definitely taking Chelsea. So that's my take on this one.
Kev, final word to you. I'm going to throw this out there. Chelsea win to 0 is +210. Are you jumping into the water on that one or no?
I've just been burnt too often, Carmine, on these win to nils. I do prefer now taking the team in under 3.5 or under 4.5 instead, because it does give you that bit of cover. But it's Chelsea for me in this one as well. They are the much better team, although I did say that against Arsenal as well. And look, while they did let us down last night, how they've responded after the last 2 defeats, after the last time they knocked out Manchester City out of the Cup after losing to Porto with that meaningless goal in the Champions League. And then they hammered Crystal Palace 4-1 in their subsequent Premier League game after that crazy 5-2 loss to West Brom early last month. So they've been great in these bounce-back scenarios. And look, this is a cup final, so Tuchel wants to get his hands on the silverware here. And Brendan Rodgers' terrible record against Chelsea. Just 1 win in 16. That was that win that Nick mentioned back in January. But again, that was against Frank Lampard and not Thomas Tuchel. This is a completely different Chelsea team. So, yeah, -110 looks a bit of a steal to me, and I'll be on Chelsea. They'll be on my card this weekend.
All right, good to hear. Guys, you heard it. Some good actionable info by the 3 guys at WagerTalk and Sports Memo. Tune in next Tuesday, 10 a.m. We will have some more midweek games, including Chelsea and Leicester, who meet in Premier League action as well too. So we'll talk about this result and what's expected on Tuesday. Remember, you can still get the promo up until Friday at midnight. ST40, $40 off a 7-day all access, or Memo 30 to get $30 off a 7-day all access for Pavlos. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and we will see you on Tuesday. Best of luck with your wagers.
Sign up for the free WagerTalk Text Club to gain access to free plays and exclusive discounts. Just text WagerTalk to 33222 to sign up and get a $10 coupon to use on WagerTalk.com.